your Mazda engines.
And there you go, firing things up. 8 drivers in Pro Mazda set to go. Let's send it back to the booth. And Michael Young.
Thank you, Rob Howden. As you see pit out the field of 8 cars. Final race of the season for the Pro Mazda Series. Field near to be away. Parker Thompson there. Number 9 of Robert McGinnis behind him. The 82, the Pelfrey entry of Stingray Rob. Nikita Listoshkin right behind he. Moises De La Vera will round out this 8-car field. De La Vera, an incident yesterday early in the race, took him out. Back ready to work his way through the field this afternoon. Fields away as we get set for the final race of the 2018 season for the Pro Mazda Championship, presented by Cooper Tire. Rinus VeeKay, as Rob Howden had said, will be the reigning champion for 2018, and he will move on to Indy Lights for 2019. David Malukas, a nice battle yesterday as he finished in the 4th position, finds himself second in the starting order today. Oliver Askew, yesterday's winner, will start on the inside of row 3. Parker Thompson on the outside, of row 2, and Parker Thompson on the outside. Expect big moves from both of those drivers as they were very quick yesterday. Expect them to be very quick today. So the field works their way through the opening corners of the track, now down into turn number 7. We will see the pace car pull away, and the field will begin to form in rows of 2 as they make their way down through turn number 8 and then into turn number 9. They will get the green flag this time by. Again, Rinus VeeKay, our Pro Mazda champion, will bring the field down. Has the pole for both races this weekend. Won yesterday from the pole and has the pole again today. Can he repeat the feat? David Malukas alongside Askew, Thompson, row 2, McGinnis, Rob, row 3, Listoshkin, De La Vera, row 4, as they make their way down into turn number 10. The field is in line. They'll make that left-hander, then make it back to the right-hander. And here with the call of the start of this final Pro Mazda race of the season, the voice of this Mazda Road to Indy program, Rob Howden.
Thank you so much, Michael Young. Indeed, these young drivers have developed so much over the last 6 months as the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg opener in March, and they are getting set to go. VeeKay and Malukas in the front row. Drivers ready to go, and we're at it. Green, green, green. One of our guests from Mazda throwing that green flag coming across the start finish. Let's go 2, 3, 4. How about 5 wide to turn number 1? Are they going to make it through? Good job so far. Drivers getting through cleanly. Parker Thompson on the inside there ends up in the 4th spot. Some aggressive running into that corner, but Michael, guys giving each other some room.
It was interesting. David Malukas kind of was like the meat in the sandwich, and he got squeezed out into the lead. A nice opening turn for David Malukas as we see Rinus VeeKay in the 2nd position.
You know, interesting, last race of the year, championship's already locked in. Parker Thompson's already locked into that 2nd spot. Looks like there is a bit of damage. That might have been, I want to say Moises De La Vera, I think, at the tail of the field. That looks like a blue number 12 winglet. But you got to think these guys coming into the final race, final corner, let's keep the budget down. Let's not get another invoice from the parts trailer to have to rebuild a car in the final race. Let's get going, go racing. And David Malukas with the lead. The Chicago, Illinois resident out front, double winner at Road America, now leads Rinus VeeKay.
Yeah, Parker Thompson tried to make that move 3 wide, and he got punted back as Robert McGinnis was able to take that 4th place spot away as they file in the field down the front straightaway for the first time. And David Malukas already out to nearly a 1-second advantage. 0.84 seconds for David Malukas. It's VeeKay Askew on the charge with Robert McGinnis.
Oh, I like this battle right now. Parker Thompson fell back to the 5th position, but remember, he has shown really good speed here this weekend. Parker very wise. Again, we talked about him kind of on a limited budget, the end of the season. He'll be working through all the offseason for the 6 months till we get back to the racetrack, Michael, trying to see if he can find the money to keep going, whatever he ends up doing. We are seeing a driver coming into pit lane. That's looks like 82. That is going to be Stingray Rob. Right rear damage, I believe. Moises De La Vera coming in. They're going to try to get a front wing put on that car. So a little bit of damage from the opening race, but back to Parker Thompson. He saw the chaos going into turn number 1. He could see it happening, checked out a bit, started 4th, ends up in 5th. Watch for him to move forward. But again, when you've had a rough season like he has, again, not wanting a damaged race car here to cap the season.
No, that'd be the last thing that he wanted, a 30-lap event, and he knows he has plenty of time and a plenty fast race car to make up any potential ground that he would potentially lose here on the first lap. But boy, as we see problems with Parker.
Thompson to pit lane. Parker Thompson coming to pit lane. Locked the brakes up a little bit coming in there. I don't know what happened. Parker Thompson has brought the number 90 exclusive Autosport machine into pit lane. You know, Michael, I'm wondering whether Parker wanted to just park the car. He's got second place locked up. Do you get yourself in trouble? He was getting closed up a little bit there. Nikita Listoshkin was coming in. It seems to me like he just slowed up on the last lap and wanted to park the thing. I want to know whether it's a mechanical or whether he just said enough was enough.
That's one of those situations. We saw him lose ground to fourth place running Robert McGinnis, and as he peeled off turn number 12, as you said, just took it down into pit lane. So that will leave David Malukas with a big gap, that 0.8 of a second advantage over Rinus VeeKay, the series champion. Oliver Askew, our winner yesterday, runs 3rd. Robert McGinnis 4th. Nikita Listoshkin, the only car remaining on this track, he runs P5.
To update everyone, Stingray Robin, the number 82, still in pit lane. Potential right rear damage, suspension damage to the Team Pelfrey, number 82. Moises de Oliveira, as we said, in as well. I think he got into the back of Stingray Rob, and everybody locked it up coming into turn number 1. Damage there. Not sure if there's any damage for Parker Thompson. We'll try to find out for you and give you an update. In fact, it looks like Thompson potentially back out on the racetrack. Thompson, I think, back out on track. Probably only about maybe a second and a bit in front of the leaders. Here he is coming through turns number 3, 4, and 5, and I'm being told flat right rear for Parker Thompson. So, again, all that chaos early on, they were able to get that tire changed. Parker's going to stay on track. I would expect he'll let the leaders come back by here soon. Or maybe keep pushing and try to hope for a full course yellow.
Yeah, one of those slow leaks. Those are your biggest nemesis as he makes his way down pit lane, able to make it back out in front of the field. He will not go a lap down. He'll stay on the lead lap, so certainly will need a caution to get back into contention, but a very long race.
I want to say kudos to the exclusive Autosport team. They get him in there, able to make the rear tire change and get him back out, not losing a lap. Now, again, we'll see what kind of speed he has. David Malukas has been dropping great lap times. They may get on the radio and say, hey, listen, let's not play around here. But Parker's shown good speed. We'll watch lap times as they work their way back around here to see whether or not Parker's going to be able to maintain that little gap that he does have now. Malukas, again, resets fast lap. Then VeeKay does it. He'll return the favor. Those drivers now into the 108.6s. 108.8 for Oliver Askew. Again, a win yesterday for Oliver in the Soul Red Mazda power plant, our Mazda race car, the beautiful livery, the Soul Red color that Mazda puts on all their scholarship winners race cars. And it'll be sad to see those cars go. Obviously, we'll see we may see Soul Red still next year because there's still Mazda scholarship drivers that will be coming through the shootout, which they'll have in December. Top young drivers in F1600 series and other programs around the country and around the world coming in to shoot out for $200,000. Of course, scholarship for the driver in USF 2000, Kyle Kirkwood moving to Pro Mazda. And, of course, Pro Mazda Rinus VeeKay moving to Indy Lights.
Yeah, indeed. And what Mazda has done to this program has just been amazing, what they've been able to accomplish. I don't like to say goodbye. We'll see you down the road.
That's what I said to John Duna when I interviewed him on IndyCar Radio. I said, you never know. Life goes full circle sometimes. So does motorsports. You know, you'll see at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You'll see a team come in, then they're gone for 10 years. They come back to win again. So you never know because there just is that passion for motorsports between Mazda and all its staff, and I would be surprised to see things come full circle, as you said.
David Malukas still that 0.8 second advantage over Rinus VeeKay. Rinus just set the fastest lap of the race, minute 8:39.77. Oliver Askew starting to close in a little bit on the rear wing of Rinus VeeKay to make that a battle for second. Here's the start again, Rob Howden.
They'll come into the corner. You can see Malukas locking up the left front. Parker Thompson got an amazing jump. He was on the outside. VeeKay to the inside. Parker, of course, not able to roll that much speed. I think he was hoping to try to come through. Let's see who gets into the back. Oh, I wanted that to go just a little longer.
I bet it was Robert McGinnis.
I want to know, that might have been McGinnis from behind.
It would had to have been.
Yeah. We'll look at that driver right behind him. I think as they worked their way in there, Parker was trying to get back across. Okay, here's that shot again. You can see Parker Thompson really rolling the speed in. VeeKay all the way to the inside. Malukas is locking up the right front. Who's that driver coming into the back? Yeah, that's indeed McGinnis. I think McGinnis's wing is probably going to get they're going to the outside. You can see Parker kind of getting that car rotating around. I don't know if McGinnis was any contact.
I don't see
We're
any
not done
contact
yet, though.
there.
Let's keep that rolling. Keep that rolling.
Well, that may have happened further down the road.
Yeah.
But, well, Stingray Robb and Moises de Oliveira are already damaged from that incident. We see Moises de Oliveira's end fence already gone. That's interesting. Maybe ran over debris.
I just want to tell you this. We talked about being, last race of the year.
Right.
Calm down. You don't want to wreck anything. No, we're 3 wide, locking up the brakes over the curb.
Why wouldn't we
we started that way. Let's end that way. What a start that was. You could see everybody trying to pounce on David Malukas, and that's one of the things about being a pole starter. Sometimes you're the sitting duck. You get out there with enough speed, everybody else is behind you. They're getting that draft. They're going to try to outbreak you, and that's what that was. Parker Thompson was around the outside. I think he needed just a little more rotation coming through, get the car maybe to trail brake a little more. Couldn't quite get the job done. Of course, he gets that flat tire. Now he's got David Malukas up the rear wing.
Yeah, and Parker Thompson trying to stay on the lead lap, but I think the entire front row started to lock him up at brake marker 200 feet out. They were locked up through, and Parker did a nice job, just couldn't make that turn through the curbing and get himself back inside. So however it happened, he had a punctured tire, and now David Malukas will put Parker Thompson one lap down. Smart move.
Class act.
Yep.
Class act. Parker Thompson sees it, doesn't overcook it, just holds the outside line. Malukas rolls in, Parker back on the throttle. Little drop of the wheel on the exit of turn number 3 for your leader, David Malukas. We've seen that a lot this weekend. That's a tough part of this racetrack. You're trying to roll so much speed coming out of turn number 3 over to 4. You drop a wheel there. We saw Pato Award go off in qualifying for race 2. He was end up in the wall. That's the precarious part of this racetrack.
And it's far more dramatic looking than it actually is. Boy, it looks like a dust storm when they kick it up. How about the start of that IndyCar race? Scott Dixon couldn't even see. That's how bad that dust gets when they drop a wheel here.
Indeed, I had a chance to talk to Marco Andretti when he came back, and he said, man, it was just a wild ride. He was trying to stay out of the way. Hinchcliffe was having a bit of trouble, and there was just nowhere to go, like you said, and he went up and over. Luckily, obviously, Marco was fine, able to get back and scoot back on the scooter to the trailer. But, turn 3, the exit of the corner. I'll tell you, if you're behind the wheel, it's a wild ride because that's not what you want to do. You're trying to get forward bite over to turn number 4, and you can see the cars. They just get so tail happy the minute you drop a wheel.
And then you get that understeer pushing out, then it gets tail happy, and you've got a handful of car when that happens to you.
Look what we got going on here. Parker Thompson, who let David Malukas by, running very consistently now in the second position on track. Obviously not second overall. He gave some room, but he's running some pretty good lap times right now. And you can see that VK actually, because of this, now has Oliver Askew closing up. Askew was 6/10 of a second faster last time by. Oliver Askew, yesterday's winner, has closed it up to 8/10 of a second behind the driver now in second position.
Yeah, I think Oliver Askew may just ride around for a little while and see how this plays out as Parker Thompson exits turn number 7. Looked like he may have checked up ever so slightly as Rinus VeeKay starts to close in. He will not be able to get in touch with Parker Thompson, but potentially down the front straightaway, and I would imagine Parker will do the same as he did for David Malukas and allow Oliver Askew and hopefully, VK, but hopefully Oliver Askew by 2 so that we can keep this nice battle going on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here with Parker Thompson again. For him to try to cap off this season, was trying to go for a win or a podium. Got the podium yesterday, but here's a young driver who has been so impressive over the last number of years. Came in to USF 2000 a couple of years ago. He was a single car team running with JDC Motorsports. He was so consistent, lots of top 5s. Just learning what it was like to be in USF 2000. Made the move to Cape Motorsports the next year. He and Anthony Martin faced off on one of those Cape Motorsports teammate duels, both winning multiple races. It wasn't until a puncture in, I think, the second or third race at Mid-Ohio, Martin was able to sweep, get all the victories, and that kind of derailed the championship battle for Parker Thompson. He was done. No money, what's he going to do? He ends up hooking up with Michael Duncalf from Exclusive Auto Sport. This is when we brought the new USF 17 in. And Michael said, I have a 1600 team. I want to go 2-liter racing, but I need a driver. I can't just go in here with a rookie and try to figure out these cars out. Brings Parker in. They're able to win a bunch of races, finish 3rd overall in the championship. He comes back, does the same thing. We're going pro Mazda racing, Parker. You're my guy. Michael Duncalf puts him in the seat. They won 3 races at the start of the season. Everything fell off the cart. The wheels just completely fell off in Toronto, and they've struggled ever since. But I'll tell you, Parker Thompson has made his impact on the road to Indy. And maybe even more importantly, the officials at Cooper Tires and Mazda and Anderson Promotions. This guy, they call it a 3-tool player. in sports, whatever it may be. This guy has it all when it comes to being a professional race car driver.
And you talk about last year, what they went through. That was an entire learning process. He, the team, everything was a learning process. I'm not quite so sure if you throw any other driver into the cockpit of that car that they would have had the same results that they had last year.
I will guarantee that right now, because if you knew what was happening within the team itself, they come out, they struggle a little bit. They actually had a very good debut at St. Petersburg, but they struggled with a couple of the races. There were some issues with the car they had to get figured out. Once they did, it clicked. They were able to get good, but it was Parker Thompson and his maturity, and he kind of rallied the team. I remember being told that at one point they had a rough outing, whatever it may be, and then they were going to Toronto with the next event, and Parker sat everybody down in the trailer and said, guys, don't worry. We're coming together. We're going to make this happen. Here's this young guy, 18 years of age, rallying his team together. Man, he stepped it up, and they were able to come on strong.
Well, I'll ask you, trying to get around Rinus VeeKay. Will he take a look to the inside this time by? No, he will not. But as you can see, Rob Howden, that gap down to 2 car lengths into turn number 2.
Yeah, you know what? The word we use a lot in this road to Indy is momentum, and we also use confidence. And the momentum of yesterday's win for Oliver Askew, he has been busting his hump all year long, trying to find the speed, trying to learn this PM18, and just trying to see if he could battle against this Juncos team and this exclusive Autosport team. He ends up winning yesterday and really didn't put a wheel wrong, and that's the confidence he now has in himself and his team. It's at the end of the season, came on late, that happens, but the momentum right now, he knows he can best Rinus VeeKay. Watch for a pass here sometime. If he has the speed to do it, he'll be aggressive in turn 1.
And I like the fact that he didn't get defeated himself, because he was having a very rough season. A lot of people questioning, well, what's wrong with Oliver Askew? He's not having the success. Clearly, he's not as good as we thought he was. And it's sometimes very easy to allow those words of reporters or the people around you to sink in, and he's kind of pushed that aside, and I think he finally showed what we knew was still there, that potential to get a victory, and he made it happen yesterday.
The talent is there. There's no doubt about it, right? And it's confidence, as you said. You start feeling down on yourself. You're hearing people telling you maybe it's just not suiting you, whatever it may be. It's one of the things that I hate seeing in these ladder system programs, and that's drivers who get in, they run the first 6 or 7 races, whatever it may be. They're not getting the results they want, and they quit. They say, well, I'm not gonna run the rest of the season, and that they're just hampering their own development. They need to see it out. You need to finish the races. If you want to come back next year, run every race so that you know Portland, so that you know Gateway, so that you know Mid-Ohio. If you haven't raced them before, you're gonna come back, you're still gonna be behind the 8 ball for all these committed drivers who finished off the season and kept pushing even when the chips were down.
You said it, and I've heard it a million times. Success breeds success, and if you don't give yourself that opportunity for success, you will never grow as a driver. And right now, Oliver Askew starting to make himself known to Rinus VeeKay, really filling up those mirrors out of turn number 12.
The other thing, too, we'll watch this battle as they come down the front straightaway. You learn more from your failures than you do your successes, and that's key. Here comes Askew right up on the gearbox. Let's see if we get a move. No, it's a deep move to the inside. Look at the block move to the inside for Rinus VeeKay. That's not a block move. That's a nice defensive run to the inside. He kept his inside line coming into turn number 1. And I'll tell you, Oliver Askew will go to school on that now. He'll have a look at it. Okay, you defended to the inside. I'll be ready for that next time. He'll come with them, stay on the draft, stay on the rear wing, and then he'll move to go to the outside.
The unfortunate thing, Oliver Askew, I don't think thrown off by it, but it set himself up for a poorer entry into turn number 1, and he lost touch with Rinus VeeKay ever so slightly. I think if he had to do it over again, he would have allowed himself a better entry into turn number 1 and wouldn't have lost that gap.
What was the first opportunity for that pass? He was right there. VeeKay was defending. Why not just stay to the outside and then make that big run to the inside to make sure you got a better run through turn 1 over to turn 2. Now, lots of time still left to go. 17 laps remaining in this 30-lapper. Remember, folks, if you're in the grandstands enjoying yourself, you got a cold beer or something, still USF 2000 to come. Don't worry about the traffic right now. Don't get in the car. You're just going to be in a big lineup. Hang out, enjoy yourself. Watch these future stars of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Pro Mazda on the track right now, 16 laps to go. USF 2000, the youngest drivers on the Mazda Road to Indy, up next.
And you will hear every one of these names in 2019 when the open wheel cars return to Portland International Raceway. Malukas, obviously, VeeKay will go. Indy Lights Racing, Oliver Askew, Robert McGinnis, Listoshkin, Thompson, De La Vera, Rob, they'll all be back next year.
Yeah, we want to see these guys back either in Pro Mazda or making the jump up to Indy Lights. And again, these teams coming in here really with a clean sheet of paper. Everyone that was here, whether you're a team or even a driver, now you have the experience of running these race cars at this track and hoping to eventually find your way into that main event, because that IndyCar race at the end was fun to watch. I was once they let Ryan Hunter-Reay loose after saving some fuel, I thought with some push to pass, we might see a battle at the very end, but Takuma Sato, so good.
Yes, he was. Ryan Hunter-Reay had actually said they had a little miscommunication on the box, and he thought there was a caution out, and it was actually just a local. So they went flat out and should have probably held back a little bit. I know Ryan was very disappointed in that finish, but when Takuma Sato is on and that team is on, it's hard to stop them. And I know it's only been his third career win for Sato, but when it's your day, it's your day. And I said to Sebastian Bourdais, you have to be shocked to be up here. And he said, at the way the race opened up, he's all wadded up into James Hinchcliffe and tore his car up yesterday. A fun race, all in all, and really great to see all these great Portland fans staying here and enjoying it today.
You know, you look at your resume after you've won a bunch of races, and you said Takuma Sato's really only won 3 races, but he's won on the street circuit at Long Beach. He won the Indianapolis 500 on the oval, and now he has a natural terrain road course win here at Portland. That's a pretty nice little trio. You've won everywhere. That's all 3 disciplines. That's a solid little resume.
It certainly is. And again, his season had changed. He was with Andretti Autosport, moving over to Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, and that team has really had a tough go of it in 2018. And talk about a nice boost to that team and that driver, and for Graham Rahal going into Sonoma, them to be able to come home with a victory, a much-needed win. And congratulations to Takuma Sato and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing.
No doubt about it, but again, all these drivers you're seeing here to cap off this weekend at the Grand Prix of Portland, all wanting to be in one of those seats in the next couple of years. And we've watched so many of our graduates work their way to the Verizon IndyCar Series, filling up the grid spots at the Indianapolis 500. And which one of these drivers are going to be there? That's what you're seeing on the racetrack now, the future of the Verizon IndyCar Series. It's a 3.6-second lead now for David Malukas. Rinus VeeKay running in second. Oliver Askew in that third spot. Nikita Listoshka now up to 4th. Robert McGinnis has headed the pit lane. An issue with McGinnis in the Juncos Racing number 9. That'll potentially bump Parker Thompson up another spot to P5.
Pretty impressive last lap for Oliver Askew. He was quick out there, minute 8:05.39, and he has closed in again on the rear wing of Rinus VeeKay as he starts to take a look to the inside.
We may see a battle. They'll come through the chicane, turn 10, 11, and 12. I'll tell you, Parker Thompson, he must be beating the chest right now. Here I am running P2. You guys can't run me down. This is the speed I have. This is him making a statement, no doubt about that. Here comes the run down the front straightaway again. Oliver Askew has methodically worked his way back up onto the gearbox again. Does he look to the inside coming into the braking zone? Ooh, little block move there. A knife to the apex for Rinus VeeKay. I'll tell you, Oliver Askew will find that very interesting. Of course, going to school the whole time. Michael coming into turn 3, 4, 5, 6. This tough corner, the right-hand sweeper. Put Oliver Askew on the gearbox of Rinus VeeKay.
VeeKay had that back end wiggle on him as he exited turn number 2. That allowed Oliver Askew to close in on that rear wing. Askew had to lay back a little bit or he would have run over Rinus VeeKay. Let's see if he can get a nice run out of turn number 7. This is where he made up all the ground last time by, although about a 3-car length disadvantage for Oliver Askew over Rinus VeeKay.
We'll see if they're able to get that good run through. Askew trying to get through that chicane, which of course sets up for the run down the straightaway. He's within a couple of lengths. We'll use a couple of words that the drivers like to say. Let's see if he sends it down in turn number 1. If you pull a turn from Parker Thompson, let's see if he will risk it for the biscuit. That's Parker Thompson's line.
That. We can use that.
Risk it for the biscuit. Not quite close enough this time. About 4 car lengths as they come across start finish. I like the pressure that Askew's putting on him. That's what we see all the time, right, Michael? If you can't make the pass, make sure you fill his mirrors. Stay to the right side one time down into turn number 1. Maybe you go to the left side next time. Make sure you have that guy in front of you thinking every time, pushing to the edge, because all it takes is that one little mistake. You drop a wheel, and you're ready to pounce.
Yep, past the halfway mark. As a matter of fact, 3 laps past the halfway mark, 12 remaining in the final race of the 2018 campaign for the second rung of the Mazda Road to Indy program, the Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tire, as Oliver Askew trying to run down series champion Rinus VeeKay. That's the battle for second position.
Falling off a little bit right now, back to about 6 or 7 car lengths. I wonder if he kind of tacks those Cooper tires a little bit, maybe pushing a little over the setup of the race car. We do talk about the fact these Coopers are so good and so consistent from start to finish. We normally see some of the fastest laps of the race near the very end when the fuel loads start to go down. The car, of course, getting a lot lighter, able to go a bit quicker. Parker Thompson running second on the racetrack, but he is indeed 5th overall. But again, making a statement saying, hey guys, I can run with you. I'm running really good lap times here. In fact, probably a little bit quicker than the leader right now. He did a 108.4, no, a 10th off the leader that last time by.
Yeah, David Malukas has checked out, but Parker Thompson doing a fantastic job. And as long as Oliver Askew's there giving Rinus VeeKay fits, I don't think he's going to have much of an issue with Rinus VeeKay closing in on that rear wing. Oliver Askew trying to take away that second place position from Rinus VeeKay, the 2018 Pro Mazda champion. He will move on to Indy Lights for 2019 and maybe taking his time, but Oliver Askew, he was right down about a car length. He's fallen now to 4 car lengths, maybe trying to regroup things for the final 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, potentially trying to cool the tires a little bit, just settling in. He's running the same lap times as Askew. I mean, VeeKay, they both ran a 108.2 last time by. In fact, faster than the leader. We'll see them continue to potentially find more speed near the end. But you know what I really like, Michael? How this weekend's kind of unfolded. Coming into this finale here at Portland, Rinus VeeKay had won 5 straight races. He swept the weekend in Toronto, won both races of the doubleheader at Mid-Ohio, and then won on the oval at Gateway. Right now, as it's rolling, we're seeing a couple of the other guys getting a really good finish to kind of cap off the season with some positivity. You saw Oliver Askew win yesterday, his first victory. Now David Malukas is running out front, a 4.3 second lead right now. Unless there's some kind of a mechanical, he's probably going to run to the win unless we get a full course yellow. But here's a guy that will have won his 3rd race of the year as well. Parker Thompson winning 3, David Malukas winning 3, Harrison Scott winning 2. We've had a lot of race winners in this Pro Mazda category.
And for David Malukas yesterday, wasn't able to run down Rinus VeeKay, so to make that pass and turn number 1 of lap number 1 and now be able to check out, give himself a very comfortable lead. A good capper to the 2018 season for David Malukas. If he can win today, again, as you said, the 3rd win of the season for him. As, boy, Oliver Askew loves to cut that left side at turn number 10 down as much as he can. You always see a little bit of that dust kick up as he exits turn number 12, again trying to run down Rinus VeeKay. If he's going to do it, he has 9 laps to do so.
These ex-go-kart racers have no qualms in pounding over top of the curbs. They'll use all the curb they're allowed to. There's Parker Thompson running up over top of the gator strip on the inside of turn number 1. He is 2nd on the racetrack, 5th overall right now. Looking back, Robert McGinnis has been into the pits and back on. He's done 15 laps total, back on pit lane. Moises De Oliveira was able to get about 5 laps in total in. He's now parked the number 12, I believe. Stingray Robb lost a bunch of laps in the pits. He was able to get that right rear repaired. He's back on track again, seeing if he can't maybe do another 4 or 5 laps to try to get back into 6th position. It's been a good year for Stingray Robb. Probably wanted maybe a little bit more results, but he had 3 teammates at one point. It went down to 2. He's by himself here this weekend, and Parker Thompson will tell you, a single car team just struggles sometimes in these weekends when you don't get a lot of track time.
Yeah, if you get lost, it's hard to find your way back to center. If you go the wrong way, and it's just so hard when you have no one to bounce ideas off of, bounce a setup off of. If it's you and solely you could spend all day tweaking a car and never really hit the perfect setup that you need.
And that's amplified here at Portland, a track they've never been to before, so there's no baseline. They come in and say, well, we think it's going to be kind of like a Mid-Ohio, we think it's going to be kind of like this test track we've used before, so they put a setup on it. There's no experience, it's no track record saying this is good. If that baseline setup that they came up with was wrong, you're building off a wrong setup. You might be going in the wrong direction. And when you have 2 or 3 cars, you can go in 2, 3 different directions in terms of setup.
We've seen that done so many times in so many of the various series. The more cars, usually the better. And I think you will see Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing as they went from a 1-car to a 2-car operation. The fruits of that, you're just now seeing that to the end of the season, but certainly I would imagine they'll come out of the gates very strong in 2019. So 8 laps remaining. We're working lap 23 of the 30-lapper here. Actually, 7 laps remaining. David Malukas is your leader. Rinus VeeKay, Oliver Askew, Nikita Listoshkin, Parker Thompson, who is on track running in that 2nd position, currently a lap down, P5. Robert McGinnis back on pit lane. Stingray Rob 7th, and Moises de Oliveira, after that incident on lap 1, finds himself finishing 8th.
Here's what I think is a little bit interesting now. Remember, there was a huge gap between Parker Thompson, who runs second on the racetrack, but is actually 5th overall. He's a lap back. He was far enough away from Rinus VK that Rinus, I don't think, was able to get any kind of, to draft at all, any kind of slipstream. He's closed up enough now that I think he may be benefiting a little bit from being behind Parker Thompson, getting a bit of a draft, at least some kind of slipstream as they work their way up the straight. And we can see he's within about 4 or 5 car lengths now. He's closing. Parker Thompson's going to want to pull out of the way pretty soon. He doesn't want to hold up. Rinus VK wants to stay out and do the class move. But again, I think Rinus may be benefiting a little bit by the fact he's getting close enough to Parker to use that slipstream.
Now we have the USF 2000 series. They still remain. 18 cars will make up that field. So certainly a lot of excitement remaining before we wrap up the return of the open wheel cars to the Pacific Northwest here at Portland International Raceway. Closing in on the last final handful of laps. 6 remaining this time by. As you see again, that battle for second, Rinus VK and Oliver Askew.
Now here's the thing. We have a start for USF 2000. It's coming up. 18 drivers, anywhere from 15 to about 20 years of age. They haven't raced all day. They've been sitting around here all day. They came in a little later.
What are they doing right now, you think?
Probably Instagramming. Or, no, probably not. Probably Snapchat, right? They're a little younger than that, I think. Social media for sure.
Something social media.
Fortnite.
Yes,
potentially
that's
Fortnite.
That's what I would have probably guessed more than anything else. A little Fortnite.
Hey, if they're smart, they're in the IndyCar paddock, or they're here with their Pro Mazda team. They're watching as much as they can. But it's a lot. You're asking a lot out of these kids. At least they got to sleep in.
My gosh, I can remember when I was their age. I was lucky to get out of bed before 3 in the afternoon.
Right?
So, yeah, good for them.
There you go. Mom coming in, flicking the light on and off, getting you out of bed. No doubt about it. But no, these kids up and ready to rock and roll. Again, David Malukas on top, 4.4 seconds the advantage. Rinus VK and Oliver Askew had a pretty good battle going at one point here, but Rinus VK has been able to leverage the slipstream, the draft of the driver in front of him, Parker Thompson, 1 lap down after cutting a tire on the opening lap skirmish. He was going around the outside to try to take the lead into Festival Curve. Couldn't get the job quite done. Contact, and again, great move, classy move by Parker Thompson. He'll stay well to the outside, allowing both Rinus VK and Oliver Askew to come through.
Yeah, that was the right thing to do, and Parker Thompson really had nothing to gain by staying out there and staying in front of Oliver Askew, so he will let those 2 competitors race to the finish, although Rinus VK has all but checked out on Oliver Askew. Just about a 1-second advantage for Rinus VK as he made his way. It was only 7/10, but he really gapped that a little bit more as they made their way through turn number 1.
You know, this could be the 3rd win of the year for David Malukas. Wasn't able to grab the victory in his opening season last year in USF 2000. Ran a partial schedule for BN Racing, a brand new team. They immediately expanded. They had 2 cars in USF 2000 at one point. They had 2 cars for Pro Mazda. I expect all 4 of those seats to be filled for the 2019 season. And that begs the question, does David Malukas make the run all the way to Indy Lights next year? I know they're focused on making him go forward. This is a championship kart racer here in the U.S. He won a championship over in France as well, a major event, the IAME X30 International Final. That was a huge win for that young driver. He moves to USF 2000, right to Pro Mazda. If I was his manager, I'd say come back to Pro Mazda again. You could challenge for the championship, no doubt about it. Get the experience you need. But again, always that thought about trying to get up to the big show, trying to get to the Verizon IndyCar Series. I hope that David, even with the 3 wins this year, will consider coming back to run for the title.
We've seen a lot of drivers hustle their way up that Mazda Road to Indy ladder. Sometimes successful, but more often than not, they are not, and they needed that extra year. So, like you said, it would be great to see David Malukas hang around one more year, just garner that one more year of experience. It just gives you that little extra edge as you take the step up to the heavier, more horse-powered cars, and I think you really give yourself a better opportunity to be successful. And as you said, if you go into it confident and you're seeing success, it's a lot easier to stay positive instead of getting negative.
For me, I think the ideal approach to the whole road to Indy is 2 years in USF 2000. 2 years is essentially every level. You learn the car, you learn the racetracks, you learn the people. The next year you come back in USF 2000, your second year, that's when you're going for race wins, you're going for championships. You've felt everything. You make the move then to Pro Mazda. You do your initial learning year in Pro Mazda, then you come back the next year and win. And to be honest, you go 2 years in Indy Lights. If you think you're ready, you've been able to put together the sponsorship package, the backing, you got the investors, you got that team around you to move to the Verizon IndyCar Series, you do so. But I think that third year in Indy Lights is so valuable. We saw how good it was for Kyle Kaiser. Remember his first couple of years, at least his first year coming into Indy Lights, qualified well. I remember him getting into the back of Jack Harvey at the start of the race at Indy Lights at Long Beach, just overcooked it, just a minor mistake. And again, he was a rookie. His third year, we didn't see any of those mistakes. He was just flawless. He was consistent. When he couldn't win, he brought home a top 3, a top 5, and then he'd win a bunch of races. That was to watch that third year and the maturity and how he just got better in that final year. I'm a big proponent of running one more year at any level, third year, but of course at Indy Lights.
Well, last time by, Oliver Askew laid down the fastest lap of the race, minute 7:99.31. 5 hundredths quicker, well, 5 thousandths quick, 10 times, 5 thousandths quicker, and he does it again. Oliver Askew, minute 7:92.93. That time, 5 hundredths quicker than Rinus VeeKay, but 5 thousandths the last time by.
He's taking chip away at it to another level.
Yes.
5 hundredths of a second, 6 thousandths of a second. But indeed, closing up only 6/10 of a second back. That's not much. You could get yourself to within maybe 2 car lengths. Then you can make that big dive bomb move if you want to down into turn number 1. We've seen that Rinus VeeKay, he's not worried about making a big defensive move to the inside. Of course, race officials will be watching closely for that second move. You can come out down the straightaway. You can elect to move to the inside of the racetrack, but you can't come back out to set up for the corner. If you're going to make that move to the inside, you're going to take that defensive line. That's the line that you have to go into the corner, and you're sacrificing the exit speed by having a more shallow entry.
Well, Rinus VeeKay holds that second position. Oliver Askew wants it. This time by, the white flag will come out. One more to go here for the final race of the 2018 Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tire. Can Oliver Askew get around Rinus VeeKay for second?
Not close enough to do it here in turn number 1, but Askew all over the gearbox. Now, does it get a really good run out of turn number 2 through turn number 3? And Rinus VeeKay winning that championship yesterday, taking that burden off his shoulder. The championship in the books, tried to get the win here today, but no, David Malukas, absolutely stellar. 4.3 seconds the advantage. Askew resets fast lap of the race again, 0.3 of a second quicker. He has it down to 0.3, but as they come through now, turn number 5 over to, that's turn number 7 rather, down to the back straightaway. It's about a 4 or 5 car length advantage. Rinus VeeKay looks like he potentially has it locked, because they're not going to get it done down in turn number 12. You got to get him on the entry here to turn number 11. Askew, is he close enough? Oh, he is close. Going to jump all over the curb coming through. Askew right with him. But the driver coming onto the front straightaway. No challenge whatsoever. BN Racing. And David Malukas victorious in the final round of the season. He wins here at the Portland International Raceway. Double checkers being thrown by John Doonan from Mazda Motorsports. Thank you so much, John. What a fitting end to the Pro Mazda program here. And David Malukas, his third win of the year. 3.5 seconds the victory. He slows down coming across the line. A little salute to his team at start-finish. Rinus VeeKay capping off the season with another podium finish. Oliver Askew back on the podium as well, finishing in that third spot. Nikita Listoshkin will come home, I believe, in 4th. Parker Thompson 5th. Stingray Robb back out onto the racetrack. Gets enough laps to leapfrog over Robert McGinnis. He'll take the 6th position.
Win number 3 of the season here at Portland International Raceway, but they couldn't have come at 2 more different tracks. Road America, over 140 feet of elevation change. Here at Portland, not much at all. Talk to me about the race and what the hardest part was, David.
Yeah, the race was incredible, obviously. The track it's probably one of my favorites. It's tied with Road America, and it's not just because I won those 2 races, but it's just the way the track flows. Obviously, all high-speed corners, especially the last sector, turn 10 and 11, the quick S's. So the track is incredible. The race was I guess steady, I'd say. I just try to keep my head down and make sure the tires were safe and I had the time, so yeah.
You've won the final race of the 2018 Pro Mazda season. Can you give us a look into what next season looks like for you and the team?
I don't know if I could say anything, but I think Indy Lights is going to be the plan for next year. Obviously, the plan we've always been with me is always moving up early and making sure that I'm going against drivers who are really, really good, as Askew and VK, and always giving myself a challenge just so I can learn from my mistakes and learn from them. So obviously, I feel really prepared after this year, so I think Indy Lights is the way to go.
David Malukas, congratulations, 3 wins in 2018.
Thank you, man.
Good.